Bueno, gente, aquí estamos otro día más. Tenemos otra entrevista. Hoy estamos con el Team Islandia, ¿vale? Tenemos a Futark y Nak, ¿vale? Futark es un jugador y Nak es el general manager. So, hello guys, Futark and Nak, how are you
Hello.
doing?
Yes, hello. We're doing fine, I think.
We're doing great.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for coming. And, well, before we start, we're gonna talk a little bit about yourselves, okay? So, Futark, could you start, please?
Sure. Okay. Yes. Hello. My name is Futhark. Support player for Team Iceland. Played in the Overwatch 2019 World Cup, and then also in the 2023 World Cup. Now I'm doing collegiate in the US. That's about it, honestly.
Okay. What about you, Nak?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Nak. I'm the general manager for Team Iceland. I don't have a lot of Overwatch experience, like past experience, other than but just locally. I've managed a lot of the leagues and things like that here in Iceland locally, and other than that, just my main focus has just been local.
About that kind of collegiate experience, Futark? Like, how's been going? Like, do you like the point? Do you like the program?
Oh yeah, like my college. I go to a university called Waldorf University in Iowa. It's a pretty small college. Very it's very nice for the student because I can get a lot of feedback and a lot of a lot of good just teaching from the professors, which are going to be more engaged because there's not as many students. But for the program itself, yeah, no, it's been going all right. We're in a rebuild phase right now. We're probably going to be stronger next year, but
Mhm.
I'm really enjoying it personally. So I'm
For
happy, and that's about it.
mhm. For now, like, how do you feel your life has changed between Iceland and the US?
Oh, living in the US is it's strange compared to Europe, but Iceland is very American, but there's also a lot of different like culture you have to watch out for, especially when you're living because this is like out in the country. This is a very small town in Iowa, so it's very different from like capital city of Iceland with a few 100,000 people. I don't know. I can't really say that my life has changed too much, other than just there's a lot more focus on of course, education and all that now. Much different than what I was thinking about when I was like 18.
So, what's the best thing you found in America?
Uh, the people are great here, honestly. Like we have the stereotype with like Americans. They they can sometimes sound rude and whatever, but like I don't know, living in a small town or like especially in this area, everyone's very nice and like I don't know. It's a very different experience, and it's just like something I wasn't expecting. It's just like everyone's very friendly. Everyone's always willing to help you, and
And
of course, and
uh
of course, the fast food isn't bad either.
sorry, what?
The fast food isn't too bad either.
Yeah, that should be nice. Now, talking about you, Nak, a little bit. You said you got like really not international experience, but talking about like in your nation, um, like what tournaments did you do or manage or?
Yeah, I mostly organize a tournament, the second largest esport tournament in Iceland, which has over 20 team currently. It's currently going, and it's called Almenni. It means it's an Icelandic word for everybody. It's meant for everybody can compete, and it's divided into divisions where based on how strong the team is, like how high in rank each team is. GM are in the top league, then there's a middle league, and there's the open league where everybody just can have fun. And
Mm.
it really depends on what your goal is in the tournament. Like, do you want to try to be professional and things like that? Then you go into the top league. Then you're like in top 500 games and lobbies. But if you want to go for, let's say, just more casual, just have a fun with some friends, and then you go maybe into the open league where you're just having fun. And the format has, in my opinion, worked relatively well. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a league where we play over a few weeks, and you can just you play against everyone 2 times. Like in your division, you play against them 2 times. So
Mhm.
it's about 14 weeks currently of competing. But you can just take the matches whenever you want. So it's just completely up to you when you want to compete, and when you. So everybody just talk to each other and organize their own time, and then just submit their score whenever they get. So they have a starting point, and when all the matches have to be finished.
Okay.
So it's a format that, at least here in Iceland, has worked very well.
It kind of sounds like a Git good, but like more flexible in terms of time.
Yeah, it is like when I started the league, I did have, like, I knew some of the guys in both in Get Good, and some of the guys in Dallas Fuel,
Mhm.
and I managed to chat with both of them, both the teams, like both the Dallas Fuel and Get Good, like Elo Hell,
Mhm.
and I got their like input on what a good turn, or like what works for them and what doesn't work, and so I got from them a lot of information that I used to create this tournament. And the nice thing with the community in Iceland, it's that everybody is relatively friendly and open, and
Mhm.
just are happy that there are tournaments going on. So they are very willing to just voice their opinion in a constructive manner, how we can improve. So when I started this tournament in 2020,
Mhm.
then it was just 1 month of tournament to play, and then they came with the idea. The players came with the idea that they would want to have the tournaments last longer. So I made it longer, and we've just been building it up how the players want it in Iceland, how they want the tournaments to be, and we've just been building it based on their input. And it's actually just very fun, and I think I've not heard of anyone yet that hasn't enjoyed the how the tournament in Iceland is.
Mhm.
And we also, because we are part of a organization, not an organization, but there's an esport organization for just general esports.
Mhm.
That's called, I'll say it in Icelandic. You will not be able to understand it, but Rafíþróttasamband Ísland, which
Okay.
is just stands for RISI, and it's a esport association of Iceland, where they have some fundings, and they've been building it up and having it open for us to benefit from.
Mhm.
And we have our own studio where we can cast our games. We can have it very professional. We have a place where players can play locally, both
Mhm.
teams. We have a place where people can go and support their team, and it's a very nice thing that has been growing steadily since 2020.
So now,
Yeah.
guys, we're gonna round up these things, and we're gonna go into the World Cup. Okay.
Yeah, go on.
So, like, we have seen many people from Iceland that were complaining Blizzard for not hosting Open Trials. So,
Definitely.
could you explain a little bit what happened there, and also how did the group came up?
Yeah, so to start with, of course, like we were very I guess we weren't really surprised, but we were still very disappointed with how Blizzard decided to hold the World Cup this year. Because, of course, we didn't do that well. Like, we lost in the second round to the UK in 2019. All that, we didn't do that well. But we had a really good team participating in the Euro Cup, and we won the Euro Cup in 2019. We felt cheated that we did not get the opportunity to play for, or like to compete for spots at the World Cup, which I'm sure a lot of other nations felt that way too. Like a lot of nations that should have been able to try for their own spots,
Mhm.
which didn't get the opportunity. But so I guess the next question was like how the group came together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so about a month before the wildcard tournament, no, about 2 weeks or something before the wildcard.
Less than 2 weeks. It was we had 2 weeks where we didn't know if it's gonna happen or not, and then 2 days.
That was pretty much it. Yeah, we
Yeah.
because like the UAE team
Uh-huh.
either dropped out or just did not give their information to Blizzard in time, so they looked for another team to fill their place for the wild card, and so we were contacted some 2 weeks or like less than 2 weeks before the first matches were supposed to start, and then we didn't know we were taking part until like the beginning of the week that the wildcards were supposed to start, so like 2 days before, basically. And like I can't say that didn't hurt us because that left us with very little time to actually get together a roster and perfect strategies. We didn't have time to set up boot camps like many other teams did, and it showed in the World Cup like official games themselves.
So just to also talk a little bit about that is that we would have, because originally when World Cup was announced, and everybody in Iceland, like, we have a very big community of top 500 players in Iceland.
Mhm.
I think last time I checked, we were something around 25 or 30 that are just in top 500, just Iceland.
Mhm.
Considering how Iceland is small as a country, that's a pretty high percentage. And so everybody were very excited when that happened. Like, World Cup's finally gonna happen. Everybody started grinding a lot, and there were a lot of players where, in my opinion, would have just probably earned their spot in the team. But when it was announced that Iceland wasn't gonna compete in the end, a lot of the players that had been grinding for weeks got very disappointed,
Mhm.
and it resulted in them just deleting the game. I know that, for instance, Finzi, which just he took a break. He decided to, like, I'm gonna do something else. Like, for the time being, just decided to do something else.
Mm.
And so the top 500 community in Iceland just pretty much went into, like, hiatus. There's nothing happening. And then we got announced that in the end, we were gonna actually compete, and we had to find a roster instantly. And we had to find people that were still playing or just recently stopped or something. We just had to bring in people. I'm not sure, like, we could argue if it's the best team that Iceland could produce or something, but for that time, it was 100% the best team that we could bring to the table.
Oh.
So we had no time.
Yeah, I guess like just to close that off, it's like if you would have had months to hold trials and officially determine the roster
Mm.
might have looked different. The level and the skill of players playing in Iceland right now, just it wasn't really. I guess they were unknowns, but if they would have had the opportunity to prove themselves, then the roster might have looked different. That's all I'm saying.
Now that you were mentioning Vinci, I was gonna do a question about that because at the start of the World Cup we saw Hafficool playing tank, and then after that it was him switching roles to DPS. So if you could explain those moves.
Yes. So basically, because we didn't know that we were going to be competing in the World Cup in the end, people had already started planning their summer vacations.
Uh-huh.
And Finzi had planned his summer vacation at the exact time when the tournament started. And we were in the process of trying to figure out how we can get Finzi to play while he was enjoying his summer vacation in Italy. So I spent days speaking to LAN locations in Italy. I spoke to Team Italy a lot just to help them help me find a computer. And so in the end, when we were competing against, I think it was Norway, then Finzi was traveling back home, so he was unable to play because he was on a flight back home. I think when when we were competing against Saudi Arabia, I think he was in Italy still.
He was still there. He just did not want to show up to that because we were kind of expecting to lose that game anyway. And
basically the computer. Yeah, basically the amount of effort that would have taken Finzi to get to a computer at that day. It would take him 1 hour to get there and 1 hour back, I believe, just to get there. Oh no, 2 hours. 2 hours to get there, 2 hours back. Yeah.
No, just to answer your question about the Hafficool monkey that we saw against Germany in the first game, because that was the only time we ran it. In scrims, it had worked really well for us to run Haffi on the monkey because he's by far the most confident monkey player on the team. He was very good at taking charge and just like holding the space with the monkey. And this is like Sombra meta, right? Yeah, this is hardcore Sombra meta. Sombra Tracer, monkey, Ana Brig. It was in the process of like switching, and like we swapped our meta very soon afterwards. But we were trying to play into our own strengths, and so we brought Jörgen to play the Ana. I'm on the Brig, and Haffi on the monkey. But it was a big problem for us in this World Cup, particularly just playing in official matches the same way we did in scrims, and we suffered for that a lot in the first game especially. And just to say, Germany was more ready for us. They were countering the monkey with Alex, a very good diva player, and they were setting up dives better, and we couldn't cope with it. So we decided to change up afterwards.
So now, getting into the wild card, well, you need to do that tournament to get to the European qualifier. So my question first is, how was it? Like, what did you learn? And also, if you think that this pre-qualifier phase was necessary.
I feel like, okay, so I have. Let's start with the first one. Like we learned first, like it was first time against Switzerland was kind of when I saw we were kind of nervous. A lot of the team, like besides me, Hafficool and Finzi, everyone else in the team was like their first time playing a big international tournament, basically. And so like people were nervous, and we saw that in the first round on Antarctica against Switzerland, where we got 100-0. We were pretty frantic, and like we didn't start to panic, and like we managed to like hold it together, but it was pretty close to like falling apart even there. Thankfully, we clutched it. We clutched out Antarctica, and then like Switzerland picked Gibraltar, and that was our best map. So I think it was lucky for us. And then against Finland, we were pretty happy with how we played, especially on Numbani, we had a very close map against them. We were never going to beat them in the Rush Mirror, but in everything else, we felt pretty evenly matched against them. And so for the second part of the question, like, do you feel it was necessary? Like, I feel it was very unfair. It was very, I don't want to say unfair, but strange, I think, because there are a lot of really good European teams. And so in
Mhm.
Europe, that's the only place where they had wildcards, right?
Yeah.
Just because, and they were also announced like much later after the like official World Cup teams were announced, right? Or was it
Mhm.
much later, or was it like a week? It was a few days.
Yeah, I think it
But
was like a week or something like that.
yeah, it just they felt it felt a little bit like they wanted to give more European teams like a shot at the World Cup because, and again, then I just have to ask like them, why not just have an open qualifier where everyone can compete? But I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
paid to. That's above my pay grade.
So yeah, this is something that I can maybe talk a little bit more about is that because in the World Cup, we are part of a Discord group where all the World Cup teams are together and the Blizzard staff.
Mhm.
And even though players are in it, there's another section of it where only staff is involved, so we can talk a little bit more to the Blizzard team. And I've been voicing my opinion a lot on the format. And even though, like, overall, we're very thankful and we're happy that we actually got to play because we didn't expect it. Even though we would have wanted to be able to play, like everybody else, have time to prepare, but we were very happy that. So I did talk to some of the Blizzards, like, because we were not like, we don't see like Europe has a very strong teams, a lot of them, and there's a lot of good players in Europe.
Hmm.
In America, let's say in the America region, it's mostly like North America. How many countries are in North America? Well, three. If you count in, if you take Mexico, so it's like Canada, America, and then maybe Mexico if you decide to add them in.
I think that's entirely true, but I think
Yeah.
I mean, there's more countries there. A lot of the Central America is like
Yeah,
North
but are they in the South America or on the North America?
they are in North America.
Are they
Yeah.
qualified into North? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right. So they're in North America. Okay, but in my opinion, is that have like there are like a lot of teams in other regions where Europe should definitely be just have more, like, because there are equal spots in each region. So like Europe has 5,
Hmm.
Asia has 5, I believe, and North America has 5, and South America has 5.
Hmm.
And you can just see it if you watch the stream, that how much like competition is in the European region. Is that having it, like Futhak said, having it open trials, like everybody just can compete, and have it just a short tournament where everybody just gets 1 or 2 matches or something like that, but have everybody compete to try to find, because there are a lot of nations in, let's say, Europe again, that 100% should be in the wild card or in the qualifiers. I know that Israel, I believe, is very strong. I'm trying to think about like other. Poland was there.
Let me
Yeah.
like, just as an example, let me like
Yeah.
take Denmark, who had to be invited through the wildcards
Yeah.
instead of being automatically qualified. Denmark is a powerhouse, but like they were almost not invited at all. Despite that, like they made top 8 last one in 2019, and then like they weren't invited except for only the wild card. I feel like that's a very strange decision on like Blizzard's part. I guess like mainly what I want to say, it would be the most fair for every region to just have open qualifiers where countries can decide to take part. But I understand that would have been very hard for Blizzard that wanted to make like skins in game and the bundles and all that and like the logos. It would have been hard for them. However, that could also be solved by having that be on like, for example, for the logos, that could be solved by having the teams themselves make their logos and whatever. But I guess that's not how Blizzard operates normally, so that wasn't gonna happen.
So now talking about a little bit about your matches, like, well, it was rough because you almost got without any wins, but at the end you got the win with a reverse sweep against Turkey. How did it feel?
It was just, there was a lot of relief in that win against Turkey, because I mean at that point we were done, right? There was no way for us to qualify, like it was over. But we did not want to end without a win, basically. That's it. And we kind of knew what we were expecting. We know Romani, a very strong Drakkar Queen player, so we were expecting the rush. We decided we were always swapping things up last minute, so we decided to run the Reaper in every match, I'm pretty sure. Not every match, but for the most part, we were running the Reaper on the rush maps, and we felt that was working really well. The Lijiang one was very close, and we were feeling pretty confident after that. We went into Gibraltar, and again, that's our home map. We won that kind of handily, and then going into Esperanza, we started stronger, and we played to counter comp their initial queen pick. We got a really strong start. We capped the point, I think, in 2 minutes, and then it kind of leveled out as they mirrored, and like it was very neck and neck. We almost lost it in the end, and I remember that part especially because like I forgot they had Blizzard, and so like I beat and then went straight into the Blizzard and got frozen myself and died first. I didn't say anything, but I was like, oh, did I mess up? Like I thought I had choked, but thankfully it was the first time where we really clutched up together as a team in that final fight. And so we were really happy to get the win.
Like after the matches, obviously didn't make it to main event. Okay, but what did you get from the whole experience?
Speaking for the players, I hope that our players, especially the ones that had never played on like the international stage or in big tournaments, like really big tournaments, all of the players you saw on the 2023 team were either, it was me, Finse, and Hafe as the like, I don't know, experienced core, I guess, and then for the rest it was the winners of the Icelandic tournament for that year, plus one other player who finished second, and they're all really great players, all mechanically talented and dedicated. It's just the experience was lacking, and I think it showed playing against the really experienced teams of like Germany and Finland and Sweden. It was just a mismatch. They were more controlled all the time. So I'm hoping that we at least got the like experience and just the feel for playing on such a big stage as a team, and then I hope if we ever get a chance to compete in the World Cup again, we will have that to fall back on. We'll be more controlled and more just ready for it.
You just summed it up perfectly. Just perfect.
Okay, a little bit about your opponents. Who do you think was the most challenging as a team and also as individual?
I mean, playing against Sweden in that final round, that's the first time I've played against Kevster in an official game. Like I've met him in ranked before and he's always like destroyed or whatever. But you could tell he was still like you could tell I think he's the best European player in the world and like the best player that Europe has ever seen.
Mhm.
And he's at the time, at least, I still think today, he's like top 5 DPS player. And you could see it on Gibraltar, especially third point, where he just swapped Genji, and he's just dominating the entire time. And I watched the replay code after it, and just seeing all the little things he does that make him so incredibly good. He's just faster than you. He's ready for everything you do. He's always in the perfect spot to get max amount of value. Always doing damage. Always getting picks. It's just it feels so difficult to play against.
I mean, I can't speak for which is the best, player because I wasn't playing. But of course, we had already we came into this as the underdogs. We knew it, but we were going to try to do our best with the time that we had, and I think we did. I think we did very well considering. Given enough time, we would probably have done a lot better. The players that have played in the players in this roster, like Futhark said, are very talented, very good. They are only going to get better. Most of them are young. I think Chris is, how old is Chris? 19? I think.
Pretty sure he's turning 19 this year, or is already
Yeah,
19.
yeah. And Chris is a very talented player. He's very committed. He takes a lot of time to study the game as well.
Mhm.
So he's only going to get better. A lot of the other players are also very talented. It's just we're just unlucky that we didn't get enough time to practice. But given that we still performed, I think, on a lot of occasions very well. In terms of what other like other teams, I mean, Saudi Arabia is obviously a very good team. And you can just see it how good they are. Every one of them is very good. In my opinion, I'm actually surprised that Denmark didn't qualify, even though we were not competing against them. I'm just actually surprised because, in my opinion, I was it. Before the tournament started, I just said it out loud, like to the team, like, yeah, Denmark's going through easy,
Mhm.
and they didn't qualify. So, I mean,
we all expected it, but I mean, you guys, the Spanish team, they beat Denmark, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it was surprising, but like, I think what happened to Denmark, they were very cocky leading up to everything. They were, I mean, they insta blacklisted us because we missed one scrim, but we don't get into that. That's drama. No, but like Denmark were a really good team, but they were also very cocky and they didn't respect that the hungry teams like Spain were close to them, and like it kind of showed, especially in a best of 3, which it's so important to respect everyone in such a short match because anything can happen in like one map, or like one mistake can lead to stuff, and it just like spirals instantly. Either way, like you know.
So, guys, we're gonna get into the end, okay? We're gonna do one last question, which is like your predictions for the World Cup. Could you throw us out top 4?
the
can
most
start.
obvious. Yeah, go on.
No, I mean, if you're ready, then go for it. I was just wondering if you're looking something up.
Yeah, I'm just because I didn't take a lot on who the Asia teams were, like who qualified there. So I'm just quickly summing up there. I think South Korea is going to be number 1, definitely. America probably number 2. I would have placed Saudi Arabia in 3, but they did lose a player just last week.
Mhm.
So so I'm not sure if I would place them top 3 right now. Think. Please, what? South Korea now 1, United States 2. I'm not sure who would 3. Maybe France or UK, and then maybe Saudi Arabia or Finland number 4.
Mhm.
I think we're forgetting China here. They are. I think China
Oh
has
yeah,
really,
qu-
really strong team, and they might, they might even win it. Honestly,
Yeah.
the Korea team right now isn't as strong as they have been in like other World Cups compared to the rest of the compared to the rest of the nations. In like China, that's, if I remember correctly, that's basically Hangzhou's Park right there.
Yeah.
Let me see. I mean, we saw them there. They went really far. They took third place in the grand finals. I think China can go really far. Otherwise, for the rest, I would say Korean America, Korea, America, and China is going to be the top three. But in what order is just the question. For fourth, I want to see. Well, first of all, this is not. I'm just not saying this because Spanish interview here, but Team Spain look really strong. They could go far, and like looking at the group, I see you guys making it out of it, and who knows what happens after that.
Mhm.
I have for Finland, of course. We like Finland and Iceland. We're very good friends,
Mm.
Uh, they're the homies. I have to root for them, but also Mexico in the same group. I have a Mexican, like the assistant
Mhm.
general manager, I want to say, for Mexico. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm rooting for them as well. But it's unfortunate they're in the same group as Korea, so probably only one of them is making it out.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there. I'm
oh
not
yeah, they're in
sure.
Tokyo.
I'm not sure how to feel about France or Canada. Canada might go far as well. They have a really good team still.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
UK is actually not bad. I think UK, looking at it, thinking about it back, I might change my opinion. I agree with Futhark with China being there, number 3. I think Britain is gonna get out of this stage group. Yeah, I think Britain might be number 4.
Okay. So, well, thank you guys for coming today. Thank you for the interview.
Of course.
And
Thank you.
also, best of lucks in your lives. Hopefully,
Yeah,
we can
thank
see
you.
you Futark a little bit into collegiates. Also, Nak,
We'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
good luck into
Hopefully you'll
your
give
tournaments.
me. Yeah, hopefully you'll have to interview Futhark again very soon when he wins the collegiate.
Sure, we'll be happy to make it.
We'll see. Uh-huh. Yeah,
Well,
okay.
so yeah, thank you guys, and
All right,
well,
thank you.
see you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right,
Thank you very
bye.
much.